Hey guys, Hayden here, and in this video, I'm going to explain to you my new business, what it is. I've got this great note here, why I picked it, how we're growing so quickly, our current employees and team structure, our finances, because we're burning a pretty healthy 40 to 50,000 a month, and then the long-term plan. As you see in the title, I did start a newsletter, a completely different business. Yes, emails can be a business that's currently at 37,000 subscribers. By the time you watch this, that number's probably about 50. We're growing about 600 to 1,000 a day. Hoping to get that above 1,000 consistently per day very shortly. So it's a really, really rare thing for me to start something that's totally new. I like to stay in my lane, my wheelhouse, that is e-commerce and real estate. So it's been years of slowly dissecting new business models, looking for something where I can use my current skills and just get a higher leverage point, right? Something a little bit bigger. So that is what this business model is. And this is my first step into that. It's going really, really well. So we're going to talk about that. I am currently here in the south of France. If you hear any noise, it's starting to get loud and busy out here. It is F1 weekend in Monaco starting up this weekend, so things are getting a little crazy. It's beautiful. I just got back from Greece, having a great time, not traveling, but eating my way through Europe this summer. So it's been disgusting, but it's been a blast. So I'm having a great time. So for any of you guys who follow me here on the channel, yes, you're going to notice this. I did shave off all my hair because it's overrated, it's annoying, and this is free to do, whatever. Yeah, I'm really enjoying the travels, having a lot of fun in the business. So today, I've got a lot of good stuff for you. We're going to talk about the newsletter, a ton of really, really good stuff, okay? 37,000 subscribers, a newsletter hosted on BeeHiiv, and this is something I'm doing with a business partner. I would not have started this business at all, zero chance, without this business partner. And I'm very confident saying he probably would not have done it without me, because it's a yin to your yang. I have never really started a business with a partner. It's usually not something that goes well. I've done little projects, e-commerce stores, and made money, but never a new business, never something like so drastic and such a big change, because, when you have employees, like we already have multiple full-time people, it has to be such a solid partnership and a relationship that is going to last, because these employees that are dedicating their lives, right, and their livelihood as well to you and your company, like, you got to take that very seriously. So this business is really cool because I've been on the marketing and promotion, social media side of things for a long time now. And my friend, my business partner, John, he has been on the email marketing side of things for many, many years. And yes, email can be a business. I want to give you a quick metric here. If you have an email list with 10,000 people, on average, okay, kind of doesn't matter on the email list size, but you're going to make about 50 to 75 cents per subscriber per month. It can be drastically lower if you don't know what you're doing. It can be exponentially higher if you are really, really good at monetizing. So there's a lot of stuff that we have to cover in here, but that's a range, 50 cents to $1. Now, I'm not going to share what the newsletter is inside of this video. I'm sure I will at some point, but just like what product I sell on one of my Shopify stores, it's kind of irrelevant. There's a lot of overarching things here that can be applied to anything you want to do. Now, getting into the newsletter space over the last 6 months or so has really been interesting, because as I'm trying to learn, it's a new industry, buying the very few courses that are out there and trying to watch YouTube videos, they're all like how to go from 0 to 10,000 subscribers in your first year. And I'm like, that's so slow, and 10,000 subscribers is nothing. And while that might be enough for somebody to do something full time, like it's possible, there are just faster ways to scale. Yes, either you have to get more creative, be better at organic content and going more viral, or, and this is the route that I'm taking, spending more money. That's it. It's as simple as that. So I've got a lot of stuff. I wanted to outline this video because it's important to me, because I really didn't see any good videos on newsletters. There was very few. Big shout out to My First Million, the podcast guys over there. They have some good spin-off stuff talking about newsletters, but there's not a lot of tactical growth. I haven't seen one, okay? If you find one, send it to me, but I will make sure that video is just for you. So why did we, not just me, why did we pick this business model? Myself and my business partner have been, very stable, but not unsusceptible to the overall market, as well as to month fluctuation. So my business has been incredibly stable for a long time. But when, there's some issue with an ad account, like for e-commerce, your Facebook ad account, COVID hit, my ad account went away. The entire business was shut down out of nowhere, no warning, nothing. So stuff can happen where it fluctuates, and that's really frustrating. So we liked the idea of the stability behind the emails, right? Because that email list is there. It can't be taken away from you. You own it. It's there, and you can sell to them. So as long as you have a relationship with the audience, which we're going to get into, that's the most important part. It's just like a YouTube channel almost. This is platform dependent. Right? My YouTube channel can get taken down. We've seen that happen to many people, but an email list cannot. And so the stability aspect of this is something I really, really liked. So For this newsletter, we have 3 primary growth channels. Okay. Number 1 is third-party recommendations. Okay. You're gonna be like, what the hell is that? Let's say I'm willing to pay $1 per subscriber or $3, whatever it is. That's kind of the range that most people stay in. Fun fact. But there's ways to do this where other newsletters or other bloggers or websites or whatever are basically affiliates for you. Every person they send your way, they're going to get paid for a flat fixed rate amount. Now, that's what we started doing. But about 2 months ago, I realized, almost 2 months ago, there are better ways to do this more efficiently. Okay, people call that a co-reg and different words for it or whatever. Basically, you're just paying a fixed amount per subscriber. This is really cool because we started using a platform. There's a couple available, but the primary platform is called Sparkloop. Okay, Sparkloop allows you, there's a bunch of other newsletters on there, and they allow you to basically have a one-click upsell page where you promote multiple other newsletters. So it's kind of like upselling. When somebody subscribes to your newsletter through your Facebook ad or your whatever, they're going to get with a pop-up page, hey, you might also like this, 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 and this. And if they just hit subscribe, you're going to get paid a couple dollars usually per email. And so it's very, very profitable. Now, what's cool about this model on something like Sparkloop or BeeHiiv, which is actually a hosting company that we use for our newsletter. They just came out with theirs. The cool thing about platforms like this versus going directly to a newsletter or a website is you're allowed to set parameters. So inside of BeeHiiv, you set up a rejection sequence where, hey, everybody who comes from all of these countries, or flip it the other way, this is what we do, we only pay for people from the US. Or from the US and Canada. That's very common to see. So if I get 5,000 referrals, I might only pay for 2,500. Well, that cuts my acquisition cost in half, right? So you can save a lot on that and kind of set your parameters like, hey, for us, they have to be from the US or from Canada, and they have to open at least 2 emails in the first 2 weeks. Just some loose parameters. Most people fall into that, but that ensures that you're paying for somebody who's engaged, they're not a robot, they're from the right location, etc. So these are really cool. We've actually found it to be a little difficult to grow with some of these platforms. And Sparkloop's been our primary one. BeeHiiv just started. Both of these are still new. They're still growing. There's a lot of new people joining. But we actually find it difficult to spend the budget that we want. And that's really frustrating because for us, we're trying to spend a lot of money to do this. And our spend target is not being met. And I understand we're much more aggressive than, at least from what I've seen, any other newsletter on either of these platforms because we want to spend the most. But that's just not something we can do yet. So that can only spend so much money. And again, I have my notes here, so pardon if that's unprofessional, but I really want to make sure I get through everything here. So it's a pretty cool thing, and there's a lot of different options. The second primary way that we grow right now is through paid newsletter promotions. So, you have all these different big ones you might have heard of, like, Morning Brew, right? I think they got a coffee cup logo or something. This is water. Don't get it confused. But Morning Brew is really interesting because you could go pay them whatever, 20 grand, 30 grand, whatever the price is, and get a spot inside of their newsletter. And you're going to reach a certain amount of people. Most newsletters charge a $25 CPM. We can get into metrics in a different video, but we've paid $10,000 on one transaction, $7,000 on another, $4,500 and $4,000 so far. That is the total accumulation for the larger newsletters that we have promoted within. So having a free email newsletter promote to our free email newsletter, it's really cool because they're selling something, but there's nothing for sale. Right? It's free. So we have a very high conversion rate. We have actually found this to be more expensive than any of our other acquisition channels. But if you look at the data inside of BeeHiiv, those are our most engaged subscribers. So from an acquisition perspective, it's high effort because we have to constantly communicate, set up these campaigns and analyze the results. And it is the most expensive, but those are the most engaged readers. Those people really, really like our stuff. And in my opinion, that's because we're picking specific newsletters that are not exactly like ours, but they're like one layer removed. So for an example, if, there's 2 people that talk about coffee and like the health benefits around it, we might, advertise with like a general health foods space, something like that, where it's a little bit outside because usually the direct competitor won't want to work with you. So that's one thing that's been really, really good for us. The third is organic. And there's a couple different subsets under here. We did a lot of Google SEO when we first started. That's slowed down. And now it's just a small drip of, 3 to 5 subscribers a day, but it's something. We also have Twitter. Now we pay an expert to do this on our Twitter page. We spend about $23.50 a month right now, I think is the number, about $2,500 to have the Twitter completely handled. And that includes, multiple posts per day, creating all these free assets, doing giveaways, stuff like that. It's like a long-term outlook because we want to grow that as its own asset, right? And have followers there, have an engaged audience. But what we've actually seen even in the first month is still very expensive, but starting to become a more reasonable cost per acquisition. right? So paying, whether it's $6, $7 per, subscriber from that, but actually starting to see not only the growth of the followers, but actually some of that transferring over to subscribers has been great. So that's on the organic side. We also have, 7 to 10 small affiliates, if you will, like direct micro influencers. Those are the people that I was reaching out to when we were first starting, a lot of little YouTubers and TikTokers that are in the industry, and trying to get them to promote and get paid a flat rate per subscriber. Again, I didn't know about Sparkloop, and Sparkloop is still really new. It's really only popped up in the last 4 to 6 months, but we didn't find it till 2 months ago. And so I think that'll be really big for general newsletter growth, but this was just like the less efficient version of that. So those people still do, some promotions, but it's negligible. It's like 100 people a month. So there's that side of it. And I want to mention all of what I just mentioned, all of the, different growth formulas and strategies and whatever else is completely irrelevant. Doesn't matter one bit if your product is trash. And I subscribe to a lot of newsletters. I'm deep in this space now, and we have full-time employees that are doing the same thing. So I'm very on point on like trying to learn this and understand it and seeing what people are doing in all different niches, right? Most newsletters suck. That's just the truth. Just like how most businesses aren't great, most whatever aren't great. There's only a small subset that are great. And so people either promote too much, they're not offering enough value, it feels salesy, whatever it is, you have to create a good product. And myself and my business partner decided early on that the customer, our customer to our company, is the reader. It's not somebody who pays us, $2,000 to advertise. It's not the affiliate thing that we'll probably eventually promote. It's not somebody who eventually we're gonna have different customers. We might create a product that people can purchase, but our customer, our primary point of attention is the reader. That's it. And that's not somebody who's paying us any money. And that's very different for both of us from our previous businesses, right? We both still run other companies. That's where we make our money. That's how this business is funded. So it's very different. But what's cool is, looking through that lens, it allows us to do everything based on the filter of, does this serve the reader in a greater way? And if the answer is no, then that decision does not move forward. Very, very unlikely. And so because of that, we've turned down multiple advertisers, and it's just, you want to craft it so the reader is the most important thing, okay? We've got a lot of stuff to cover here. If you're enjoying the video so far, give me a little thumbs up or let me know. Appreciate you. Let's talk about the finances. This is always an interesting point. I'm so curious. I want to hear about other newsletters and stuff, but can't find it. So I'll start. This is, by the way, exactly what I did in the e-commerce industry 6-7 years ago. Nobody was talking about it. Great. Happy to be the person. So maybe we'll do that here. I'm really enjoying this industry. We are currently spending about $40,000 a month. Our target's 50. Okay. The reason that other 10,000 is not being spent is because Sparkloop they're not there yet. Okay. And Tyler from BeeHiiv, my business partner, has gotten to know him, met him a couple times. He's the owner of BeeHiiv. We asked him when they first launched their platform, they're like, hey, come on over here, do that promotion with us instead of Sparkloop. I asked him point blank, we were like, hey, are we going to be able to spend $30,000 a month on your platform? And he said, probably not. Not right now. So it's like there has to be enough people and enough traffic promoting you to actually be able to spend that much. Sparkloop's getting us close, and I think it is growing, but it's one of those things where we're just not there yet. So we're not meeting our spending budget. And I just want to make it clear. People say this newsletter we started about 5 months ago. People say $40,000 a month. We've been spending $40,000 like for less than 2 months. Like this is our new, like where we're at after identifying Sparkloop primarily. Before that, it wasn't much. So our total cost per acquisition like is not a lot, right? We've done a lot of organic stuff. So we're at a really good point. And I can do a separate video on finances, like our crossover graph point of where we're going to start breaking even, but we're focused on growth and focused on the reader. So a primary plan of ours was just to spend more money than anybody else. Good plan, I guess, right? If you're just trying to get eyeballs and trying to get readers, be willing to pay more per customer. Now, how do you do that and not be foolish about it? Okay, because if you have a ton of money to start a business, that can actually be a bad thing because it makes you foolish and you're just going to spend money in ways that are totally wasteful. So we're trying to be very conscious of that. And I think my business partner, more so than I, is super like, hey man, like, is this the most efficient thing? So it's great because I'm like what he describes, all gas, no brakes. I want to go. I want to scale. I don't care if we spend more money. Now I don't want to do it inefficiently, right? But I'm happy to spend more if it means better growth, further growth, faster. So that's just the approach that I've taken. I'm aggressive. So it's really interesting because we do spend more money than other people. We do pay a higher payout per subscriber than most other newsletters. And that strategy has worked. It has worked incredibly well. So I think we're getting proved correct. However, the back end of that, how do you make sense of doing that? right? There's a couple ways that newsletters primarily monetize. You have the whole Spark Loop model now where people like they just share. It's like a monetizing loop. Like, okay, you run your Facebook ads and there's that pop-up page, you make a couple bucks, maybe you offset your front end acquisition. That's a very poor monetization model. Most people sell ad space to companies on their newsletter. That's base level 101. Yeah, you can make some money doing that. Great. There's a company called Milk Road, They're, crypto newsletter. They went 0 to, I think, 250,000 subscribers in 11 months, in under a year, and they sold for, I think, about 4.5 million cash and a little bit of equity forward. They had no product, no other monetizing. They were just selling 200 grand a month of ad spaces. That's it. That is a terrible, terrible monetizing format. Okay, so you have your ad space, you have affiliates, you might have some like back-end promotion, co-regs set up, whatever, but building a product is really where you make the money. So I think where we will be able to make sense, and we've already done all the numbers, we're happy with our current cost per acquisition. I'm actually willing to pay more, but we are very happy because we understand how to monetize this better. And I think that's what sets us apart, from 95% of people in the newsletter industry, maybe 99. So that's one of those things. And again, just to talk a little more about the finance side, our cap right now is about $50,000 a month. That's what we're willing to spend. That'll get us within the next couple months to kind of that crossover break-even point where we're no longer burning cash. And I think at that point, we'll just kind of re-engage and put more money into it so we do continue losing money on paper for growth. So that's one of those things for us where we're more than willing to do it if we're seeing that the model is being proved correct. And we already are. Things are going really well. I'm going to get into that. We have a few great team members. So as promised, to talk about the employee structure, the team structure. I want to make sure my stuff's still recording here. All right, we're good. We have a couple great people, two specifically that I think will be with us forever, that I hope will be with us forever. One of them is a full-time researcher and writer. She is currently doing both of those roles. Okay, so eventually I'd like to split that out so that she has a researcher underneath her, someone that she can manage, delegate some work to, eventually maybe a team of writers. Who knows what that role will grow into? Currently, we are not doing daily emails, so the workload is still full-time, especially with doing the research, but it's not one of those things where we need a team underneath her. But eventually, if that's needed, we're fine to do that. The second person, who I also hope will be with us for the future, is a sales guy. And this person is primarily doing cold outreach via email to advertisers to get them to purchase ad space inside of our newsletter. That's usually something you can start doing about the 20,000 subscriber point. People start being interested. It starts being worth the effort. So that's one of those things where we're now starting to sell ad space. And I'll talk about that here in a moment. We actually did just close two deals. The first one for $1,530, which was like a multiple edition thing. And then another one that was a secondary placement for less. So starting to close that, we have a 7% response rate from cold emails. If you know anything about emails, that's a little over double where it should be. So really, really good to see that. I love to see it. The other two people, I have a VA building two spreadsheets for us. Her job on a daily basis is to add a certain amount of advertisers to a list for the sales guy. That number currently is 30. So every day she has to go and identify through a research process following an SOP that I created, and I manage her to go find all these advertisers that would fit, kind of within our audience, within our niche, and, find 2 points of contact. So the primary is going to be an email, and then add some sort of secondary as well as some information on the company, and go put that into a spreadsheet, which then every single day the sales guy attacks and just does the outreach. So that's one of those things where that will probably grow into a larger role where we need more advertisers being reached out to. But for right now, going really well. So that's perfect. The fourth and final person is not really an employee. It's more of a third-party service company, a guy that we know, a referral from a friend who does Twitter. He does it at a very high level, does really well. And so he's handling all of our Twitter, ghostwriting, doing a bunch of stuff, posting, 5 to 8 times a day, and it's going well. So love to see that. That's it. That's our team right now. It's kind of 4 people, if you will, 3 internal and then that service. And that's a lean team. I mean, I truly believe we could operate with hundreds of thousands of subscribers, doing a few $100,000 a month and building our own product or products with just that team. I really think that team alone can crush it. So you don't need much, there's some overhead on that team. Sales guy is commission based. Yeah, we got a full-time employee. Yeah, we got the VA. It's a VA. It's not that much. And the Twitter service costs a little bit, but it's like, it's not crazy for that quality of a team. So yeah, there's that. And just so you guys know, I'll probably share what this newsletter is once we're like 100 to 200,000 subs. Hope that's cool. Like, I just want to get a little more established and really get these systems in place first. And then I'm happy to, I would want to talk with my business partner first and have a chat with John. Let me know in the comments down below if you'd want me to have him on this as well, but want to make sure we're on the same page about what we share, what we talk about, and maybe we do it together. That'd be super fun, because he's not much of like a personal brand guy, and this thing has nothing to do with my personal brand. So I think that's actually really cool, because some of the businesses I've built have been off of that. Like for e-commerce, we have a really successful e-commerce coaching company. We teach a lot of people how to do that, do it really well. I have a free course. You can check it out. I'll leave it linked below. But yeah, so, and just a side note on this to touch on it more, because this is like the part I'm really stoked about. And I wrote all this down because this is just important to me. My business partner and I have both built our own companies, right? That currently operate, that's our full-time thing, right? And so these companies are in totally different industries, and we've learned so much. We've gotten to hire and fire so many people, buying courses, learning general business. This company feels like it's starting off on the right foot, because we don't have to like go back and untangle the mess. I've had to like fix so many broken things inside my business. I've put the wrong people in place. There's just so much I've learned over 6-7 years that I feel like we can just, cut through all of that and just be on a great place with a strong foundation right away. Like setting up core values and proper systems and procedures right away from day one. I mean, that took years and years and years to even know that was a thing. So it allows us to start on a right foot. And I think it's awesome. And so I'm already seeing the fruits of that. Like, it's just growing so fast. So I do look forward to the challenges and untangling the messes that do come with this business. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of crap that we have to deal with, and I look forward to it, because it's an opportunity for us to learn, and specifically for me in my part of the business and my duties, to be able to learn more about that and get better and improve and lead a team and hopefully give them a great place to work long term. So those are the things for me that are important to me here. And I really look forward to building this business so we can avoid a lot of BS. Other than that, make sure you follow the day-to-day over on Instagram, my Instagram account. I post a lot of stuff there. Again, currently traveling through Europe, so having a lot of fun here, just enjoying. But yeah, subscribe, stick around. I'll probably be talking a lot more about newsletters and do some updates maybe once a month or whatever on how this is growing, because it is growing really quickly. And there's a lot of fun stuff we're doing here. So yeah, hope you enjoyed this video. It's definitely a different style, but I think it is something, first of all, that I would be searching for and currently am searching for. And that is exactly why I started the e-commerce videos so long ago. I could not get a clear answer. So I hope this was that for you guys. Like, whatever platform you want to use, there's a couple good ones, ConvertKit, BeeHiiv, whatever. Like, we can go into all these different things. But yeah, there wasn't a lot that I saw there on growth and spend and monetizing. So hope I hit on some of those things. Let me know what else you'd like me to discuss. Happy to do it. Just leave it in the comment section down below, and I'll see you in next week's video.